The COVID-19 coronavirus has become a global enemy we didn't see coming and continues to spread around the world. Coronavirus is unquestionably dangerous and comes from a large family of viruses that cause what is known as severe acute respiratory syndrome, also known as SARS, which are respiratory breathing conditions or common colds essentially. This rare strain was first identified in the Chinese city of Wuhan in 2019 in pneumonia patients and has since spread globally into a pandemic in 2020. As coronavirus continues to circulate, so does misinformation. We should, by all means, take this pandemic seriously, but not to the point of panic. As time and time again, we have fought against infectious diseases such as HIV, Ebola, Zika, and swine flu. With coronavirus, we thankfully do know what it is, have the means to detect the virus, and people do recover from it. Additionally, science is on the scene and on a global scale. Here we will briefly talk about the science of the virus, how it attacks us, and what we can do to combat against it. So first things first, scientifically speaking, there are four main biological molecules necessary for life, called macromolecules, which are carbohydrates, which is essentially molecular nutrition, simple sugars that make energy in our body. Two, proteins, which define our physiology and biological body structure. Three, lipids, which are fats and oils, which provide energy, insulation, and storage. And four, nucleic acids like DNA and RNA, which carry out cellular processes and regulate our genetic information in the regulation and expression of our genes. These molecules in combination carry out the processes needed to sustain life. Viruses like the COVID-19 are also made up of macromolecules such as lipids and nucleic acid. The coronavirus got its name from the physical features of the crown-like spikes that surround its surface. In Latin, the word corona means spike, hence coronavirus. And around the virus, as you can see, is a bubble of oily lipid or fatty molecules, which, upon contact of soap, fall apart, which is why the best course of action in combating the virus is washing our hands with soap. Viruses by nature are microscopic organisms that exist everywhere on Earth and have the ability to infect animals, plants, fungi, and even bacteria. They vary in their structure but consist of genetic material such as DNA and RNA, which they use to infect cells that they come into contact with. Virus cannot replicate until they come into contact with a host cell. With COVID-19, the virus enters through our eyes, our nose, or our mouth. And upon contact with the host cell, COVID-19 attaches to the cells in our body's airway that produce a protein called ACE2. Now, why do they attach to specific cells with this protein? Well, it's suspected that COVID-19 originated in bats, where it may have attached to similar proteins in these animals. Now, upon attachment, coronavirus then infects the cell by infusing its oily coating. In science, we call this a membrane, with the coating or the membrane of our cells. Once inside the cell, coronavirus then injects its genetic material, called its RNA, into one of our host cells and takes it over. After infection, the virus then continues to reproduce like a parasite by churning out new spikes and new proteins to create more copies of the coronavirus. Each infected cell can release millions of copies of the virus and infect other cells, or end up in droplets that escape our lungs. Antibiotics won't work against viruses like COVID-19, as they only kill bacteria. There's no cure for a virus, so we must ride it out with common medicine and through our immune system. But vaccinations and antiviral drugs are being worked on that can help prevent them from spreading. Most COVID-19 infections cause a fever as the immune system fights to get rid of the virus. In severe cases, our immune system overreacts and attacks our lungs, making it difficult to breathe, leading to a small percentage of infections associated with breathing or respiratory diseases, and in the worst cases, death. That's why the Centers of Disease Control is warning the public to look out for three key symptoms: fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Coughing and sneezing can expel the virus in droplets to others and surfaces where the virus can remain infectious for hours or days. Most people infected with coronavirus will have a mild illness and recover completely in about 2 weeks. The World Health Organization has a very strong consensus that those aged 60 and above and those with underlying conditions are going to be the ones most impacted by the coronavirus. So what can we do to combat against the COVID-19 coronavirus? Well, here's a do and don't checklist for you. The number one thing we can do is wash our hands. As previously mentioned, washing our hands with soap destroys the outer structure of the virus, making it useless at that point. Avoid touching your face, keep your distance from sick people, and regularly clean frequently used surfaces. Older adults should stay at home, cancel non-essential travel, and stock up responsibly on food and essentials. Now, these last 2 points are crucial, looking beyond yourself and not being careless. Now, for point of clarity, it ultimately comes down to this. If you find yourself saying, "I'll be fine," as you voluntarily go travel, go to the office, or go to crowded places, chances are yes, likely you will be fine. But the measures being taken to ban travel and avoid crowded places, they aren't about protecting you. They're about making sure that you don't inadvertently infect someone more vulnerable to the virus. This is also about protecting the rate at which hospitals can take in sick patients, as there are limited amounts of hospital beds and supplies like ventilators to help high-risk patients breathe. If we all get sick at once, the effects will not be good. Now, not everyone has the option of working from home, but if you do, please take it. Don't fall back on the selfish notion that "I'll be fine." You can show no symptoms and still unknowingly infect others. This is about responsibility and playing our part in the greater public health. This includes when all of us young and healthy people go out and buy everything in the shops and grocery stores. Consider the people most at risk when you go shopping. You may be in a low-risk group, but your 70-year-old neighbor or your friend recovering from a recent surgery are at high risk with this coronavirus. This is everyone's problem. So let's be kind to each other and be mindful of other people's worries. Let's look out for each other. All right, then. Thank you so much for your time and for tuning in. My name is Tevin Ali, a master's graduate of Johns Hopkins University, a science communicator and dynamic speaker. If you have a question or something you would like to add to this overview on COVID-19 coronavirus, please feel free to drop me a comment. Stay well and stay healthy, everyone, and let's play our part in ending this pandemic and in looking out for each other. Thank you.